And Member DeVos, if you could mute if you're not talking, because we do get feedback in the chambers. Thanks. Okay. All right. Chair Solberg, can we start with the first agenda item, which is called meeting to order and roll call?
I'd like to welcome everybody to our Historic Review Board meeting on March 18th, 2025, and call to order the meeting. I think I said that all in the wrong order, but
let's take roll. Online, we have member Harbor DeVos. Are you here?
I am here.
Great, thank you. And in the council chambers, we have member Bogard.
I am here.
Thank you. And we have member Manning.
Present.
Chair Solberg.
present.
Okay. All right, Chair, we have 4 members in attendance.
Perfect, thank you. Tonight, are we ready to talk about the public hearing, or do we do public?
Well, we do have a second item agenda is public comment, but we do not have any at this time. And then the third agenda item is approving the minutes from February 19th, 2025.
Okay. Anybody want to introduce that? I think one of you guys have to.
Yeah. You can ask someone to.
I would welcome an approval of the draft meeting minutes for our February 19th, 2025 Historic Review Board meeting.
I approve.
We need a first and a second, don't we? I second. Aye. Awesome. Thank you, Lynn. Tonight, we are holding a public hearing regarding application number HDR 2501, a request to amend DR 2203 and remove the proposed steel awnings from the front and south of the building. This is the historic City Hall building. This is a quasi-judicial decision, unlike in legislative hearings where personal opinion may come into play. Quasi-judicial rulings must be grounded in the relevant code. The hearing will proceed as follows. After the preliminary legal matters, staff will make a presentation, followed by the applicant. Then there will be an opportunity for public comment regarding this petition. Finally, there will be time for a rebuttal by the applicant. The applicant will have 20 minutes initially, plus 10 minutes for rebuttal. Any members of the audience that wish to speak must complete a sign-in testimony form and turn it into staff in order to testify. Board members may ask questions of the applicant, staff, or anyone else who testifies. I now call to order the public hearing. I will now ask the staff to cover the preliminary legal matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Solberg. The applicant has the burden of proof that the petition is consistent with the provisions of Westland Community Development Chapter Code 25 and 99. The criteria that apply to this decision are listed in the staff report. These are the criteria that the Historic Review Board must use in reaching a decision. As the Historic Review Board is sitting quasi-judicially, any testimony, argument, or evidence that the speakers give the HRB must be directed to the applicable criteria or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or other land use regulations that you believe apply to the decision. Please describe how your comments relate to the criteria. If your testimony would be repetitious, but you would like an opportunity to appeal the decision, you must sign a sign-in testimony form. Only those who have appeared before the HRB in writing or in person have standing to appeal this item. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to allow the board and parties an opportunity to respond to the issues precludes appeal to the City Council based on that issue. Prior to the conclusion of the first public hearing, on an application, the applicant or anyone who takes part in this hearing may request a continuance or ask that the record be left open to present additional information. If there is such a request, the board will either continue the public hearing to the date certain or leave the record open for at least 7 days for additional written evidence, argument, or testimony. The failure of an applicant to raise the constitutional or other legal issues proposed relating to the proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity. Failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues related to the proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the city or its designee to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Now I ask members of the Historic Review Board to disclose any ex parte contacts, conflicts, or conflicts of interest or bias, including any site visits. Please indicate the nature and extent of the ex parte contact, bias, or conflict of interest, and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. Chair Manning, do you have any? Oh, please excuse me. Can we go through, Chair Solberg, can we go through and have each person make a declaration if they have any?
Please, am I asking or are you?
Yep.
I'm asking. All right. I'll go ahead and declare that I have had no ex parte contact or conflicts of interest, and I will be participating in today's Historic Review Board meeting. Chair Manning?
None for me either.
Okay. And Chair, I'm sorry, not Chair, Member. Thank you. Oh, and Chair DeVos.
I will be participating. I don't have any conflicts.
Okay. Do any members of the audience wish to challenge the jurisdiction of the HRB to hear this matter? There are none. Does any member of the audience wish to challenge the impartiality of the HRB? There are none. Chair Solberg, that concludes the legal matters.
Thank you. What's next? Do we now have the presentation by the staff? Okay.
Yes, we have presentation by the staff.
So let's go ahead and proceed to the staff presentation, please.
Thank you, Chair Solberg. Yes, my name is Aaron Goodell. I work as a planner here, staff planner here on City of West Linn. Tonight, the board is discussing an amended design review at Historic City Hall. There was excuse me, let me switch to the next slide here. So tonight is a Class 2 design review. Is it not? It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Tonight is a Class 2 design review. As was stated earlier, the code criteria analyzed here is Chapter 25 and 29, or 99, which is in the staff report. And what we'll be discussing here is a proposed amendment on Historic City Hall for removal of steel awnings that were originally proposed as part of the 2022 design review for this building. For some clarification, the awnings they were never installed in this application. We're saying that they are removed, but they weren't installed. But after the original design review was approved, we received a recommendation from the State Historic Preservation Office on removing those steel awnings from the proposal of the restoration of the building. And with that, that's what brings us here tonight to bring the application to sort of put the record, clean up the record and make it straight that the awnings were not installed on the building. And that's what you're deciding here tonight. So In the staff report, we provided some plans from the applicant showing the original proposal of the steel awnings on the front of the building and then on the south side of the building. And then also showing the revised proposal, which just removes those from the approved plans. So tonight, I did have an image, a current image of the historic city hall showing that the remodel or restoration is, I believe, complete and that the awnings are not installed on there. So that's all I have for the presentation. I'm happy to take any questions here as staff. I have Megan Big John, who's our Parks and Rec director here, representing the applicant in this case because it's a city-owned building. We're just having different departments here present to sort of present this and answer questions just to make sure all the formalities are adhered to. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to take them. And Megan is also here to answer any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we move on to, was that the applicant's presentation?
That was the staff presentation. Yeah, there really isn't an applicant presentation in this case because the city owns this building. So Megan is here just to sort of answer questions if need be, if I'm unable to answer them really.
Oh, okay. All right. Do any historic review board members have any questions for the city staff?
I do. So why did SHPO want these not on there from their original design? Be my only question.
Their statement had said that they just recommended that they were inconsistent with the historical representation of the building. The original awnings were a fabric awning and they were proposed to be removed. They were removed because of just deterioration and poor quality. And then these were originally proposed and it was deemed after the city's approval, the State Historic Preservation Office reviewed that approval and then recommended that those would be removed, deeming that they were inconsistent with it.
Thank you.
Well,
Do we have any other questions for our staff?
I'm so sorry, Chair. Just because the image wasn't up there on the screen is the current image of City Hall showing that the awnings are not on the building as of today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're skipping the applicants. Well, applicants and staff is pretty much the same in this case. And
That's correct. Yeah, I believe you may open the public hearing and deliberate as you
Okay.
normally would. Yeah.
all right. Do I go ahead and read through this if we don't have any public testimony?
We do not have any public testimony. So we don't need to take any.
I know we had a letter from Willamette Falls and Landing. I don't know if that's something that needs to be mentioned.
I can mention that. I would say, I think we need to open the public hearing.
Oh, the
Okay.
public hearing was
official-
open.
It was
Yeah,
open?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
my apologies. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind, we did receive a letter earlier today from the, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I think it was
From the Willamette Falls and Landings Heritage Area Executive Director in support of this proposal here. That was the only public comment that we received on this, just like I said earlier today. Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
So the next step would be addressing the need for continuances.
Right.
Uh,
Do I read the part about does the
Yeah.
applicant voluntarily waive?
Yes.
Okay. Does the applicant voluntarily waive its right to submit final written arguments in support of the application after the record is closed? I do. Thank you. Next, we'll go ahead and move on to questions from the staff.
Yeah, if you had some questions, then I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
All right. I don't think we have any. So I think we move on to
Now you close the public
Close
hearing
the
and.
public
move on to
hearing.
deliberations.
and move on to,
Close
This-
the public hearing.
I've closed the public hearing. We'll move on to discussion among the Historic Review Board members.
Yes, and for people, for members' edification, I provide some sample motions that you can consider. And if someone would like to move and second, we'll move on to a vote when you're ready after your deliberations.
And technical question, does the chair not introduce motions?
The chair can
The
introduce.
chair
motions.
can, thanks. Okay. Do we have any interest in discussion among the Historic Review Board before we move on to motions?
No.
And no, all right. Okay. You want to make the first motion?
I move to approve HDR 25-01 as presented in the staff report.
I second.
Okay,
It's been moved and seconded, and the chair can call for a vote.
all right, let's go ahead and call for a vote.
Member DeVos? How do you vote? Can you say, turn on your,
It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. I vote yes.
thank
Approve.
you. Thank you. Member Borgard,
Approve.
Member Manning,
Yes.
and Chair Solberg?
Approve.
All right, the motion passes 4-0. Thank you. And you can read the conclusions at the end?
Sure, thank you. All the way down there, okay. We would like to thank you all who have testified tonight. Your comments have been very helpful. Thank you. If you would like to appeal this decision to the Planning Commission, you must file an appeal in accordance with the city and any applicable provisions in the Community Development Code. Thank you. Right, so. All right. So next,
So Chair, if you would like to move on to item 5,
all right.
items of interest to board members.
Do you want me to repeat that? Okay. Next, we'll move on to item on the agenda number 5, items of interest with the Historic Review Board members. Does anybody have any comments to bring up in the meeting? Okay. Next, we'll move on to items of interest from the staff.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to let you know that, well, now that you've seen this and approved the design changes to Historic City Hall, we'll try and schedule a tour for the HRB next month. I'll reach out to Britta and the Willamette Falls and Heritage Coalition, and we'll try and get down there. We're also looking at scheduling the McLean House celebration tentatively, and I want to get feedback from you, from the HRB, tentatively Saturday, May 10th, which is Mother's Day weekend, and that's what I want to see. It'll be Saturday, May 10th, and your preference as to morning or afternoon, but thinking the celebration would be simply, revealing the plaque and having with the community there with some, light food and drink, and probably just take an hour. And we can discuss if we'd like someone to give a speech and who that might be.
I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but is there an option to move it away from Mother's Day weekend?
Yes, there is. We could move it either the weekend before, which is the first weekend in May, which might be rainy, or the third weekend in May, which is not, let me confirm, let me look at this, calendar, come on, open up. So we have May 17th, which is, May 17th and 18th. That is not, Memorial Day weekend. We actually have 5 Saturdays in May. So Memorial Day weekend is May 24th. So we could do it May 17th, Saturday, May 17th. Or if you choose, we can move it into June. It doesn't have to be May.
I like the idea of June, better weather.
Okay, all right. Any other feedback on that?
I would agree with June as long as it avoids Westland High School graduation,
Right. So
because a lot of people will be involved with that.
it would,
The first weekend of June is graduation, the second weekend is graduation. It's you.
the third weekend is Father's Day.
Right.
And then we're close to the 4th of July.
Yeah.
What about May 31st?
That's a holiday, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
May 31st,
Saturday.
Memorial Day is May 26th. So,
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I'd vote for that.
I vote for May 31st.
Member Harper DeVos, do you have any thoughts about that?
Currently, that date works for me.
I tentatively can make that day myself. I am planning on going on vacation and leaving on Sunday.
If it doesn't work for you, we'll revisit.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thing.
Okay, so there's a preference for May 31st. Okay, that's great.
If I can jump in, sorry, one more comment about May 31st. If we do it early in the day, it works for me. Otherwise, I will have to miss it.
Okay, yeah, I think an earlier time would be preferable for everyone like, okay. All right, great. And then I also want to let you know that I have arranged for a CLG training, Curry Gill from Oregon SHPO to come at next month's meeting, and she will give us a presentation and answer any questions on the HRB certified local government responsibilities, which are, you can ask her anything. And she will be participating remotely though.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. I think that closes all of our business for the Historic Review Board meeting. I'd like to go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, adjourn is great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you everyone for coming.